Welcome to Coach My Wellness, a weekly show dedicated to bringing you information about healthy habits and behaviors just for the health of it. Here's your hosts, Joanne and Tammy.
Welcome to Just for the Health of It on 360 Talk Radio for Women, presented by Coach My Wellness, with your hosts, Joanne Orshan and Tammy St. Clair. Thank you for joining us here to talk about your health and how we can help you.
Today, we're going to continue our series and talk a little bit about confidence. And maybe you're saying, hopefully, that you're finished with self-doubt and you want to build your confidence in your ability to master wellness. I hope that sounds good. I hope that's where your head is at. Look, loving yourself can be challenging if you're on a weight loss journey. There are many women that feel that they'll finally love themselves fully when they completely let go of their weight that they're holding on to and get to their ideal size. But just remember that it's not only about the number on the scale and getting to a size. There are so many different components of having a healthier, happier life. And speaking about happiness, Tammy, I have so many people that say to me all the time, oh, if I only can lose 20 pounds, I'll be so happy, or whatever the number is. And my response is always the same. It says, well, just remember there are a lot of thin people who are not very happy.
Right. Just look at Cruella de Vil. She was one of the skinniest characters out there, and she was so unhappy.
That's true. And, wanting to get healthier while still accepting your current body can be daunting for a lot of us, but it doesn't have to be. And if you want to look your best and feel your best, there are a lot of ways that you can accomplish this, and we're going to talk about a lot of that today. The first overall step would really be to widen your focus and look at perhaps embarking on a weight loss and health journey to get more fit and healthy with the help of a health coach, which is the service that we provide to our clients to help to identify many of the areas that we're going to talk about today and clarify and come up with an action plan so that you can come up with your own wellness vision for yourself.
Right, because health is way more than just what the scale says. And part of that is looking at all the things that go into our life when we are healthy. And so many times we live in the past and we live in yesterday instead of seeing every day as a new day, and every day is a new start. And every day I can wake up in the morning and I can start all over again, and I can do my best to make it through the day. And knowing that you can treat each day as something special, that you're going to put in your best effort, something that you can challenge yourself to get through today and doing the best that I can within the decisions that I made about what do I want to do with my health and how do I want to feel better and be better. And evaluating every day as a new opportunity for that start can help you avoid feelings of discouragement and self-doubt.
Well, self-doubt is really important, Tammy, and I think that a lot of the negative chatter that we all have with ourselves is also one of the big things that need to be tackled. We talk a lot about non-scale victories, NSVs, where we can have successes that have nothing to do with the number on the scale. It could be that you've gone out to an event and you didn't give in to the peer pressure to drink a lot of alcohol or have foods that weren't on your meal plan. Those are all tremendous scales to really applaud yourself for. And that bigger picture of that is more so about loving yourself. And a great way to love yourself during your weight loss journey is to treat, as you said, every day as a new opportunity. And there are so many ways to do that. And I love affirmations. There are a couple of great apps that I have on my cell phone that come up every day with the tidbits of positivity, which I love reading. And every day by affirming yourself, then that's putting in the best effort that you can so that you keep in your mindset about getting better, being better no matter what. Evaluating every day as an opportunity for a new start, which can truly help you to avoid feeling discouraged or having self-doubt.
It's funny, having that mindset about encouraging yourself. I don't know about you, but when I'm trying to do something and I've got someone rooting for me, it always helps it go better. So why not root for yourself? And in doing that, set reasonable goals. You can't root for yourself when it feels like you're never going to reach the goal that was set because, I have 50 pounds to lose and I'm never going to get there. Well, we can get there, but it may not be in the time frame that you're thinking because it's not going to be in 2 months. And so it's setting reasonable goals, paying attention that when you're on the path to weight loss, you want to set these goals so that they keep pushing you along and you can prevent disappointments in not reaching goals that are unreachable. So by setting attainable goals and improving your diet is the more sustainable way to achieve your weight loss goals in the long run.
So one of the things that you and I both work when we work with our clients as health coaches, first thing is to establish what those goals really are, identify them, talk about them, scale them. What's most important for you? How are we going to achieve what you want for yourself? For some people, it might be weight loss. For some, it might be better health. For many, it's usually both of those things together. But how do we figure out what we want to tackle first, especially if we've tried so many different things out there and nothing has really worked? How do we identify where it is that we want to go and come up with a game plan on how to get there? And as coaches, that's what we do to help our clients unravel all of those different thoughts that are going on in someone's head.
And part of that is there's the mental game, but also appreciating your body and appreciating what your body can do and how it changes and how it allows you to function and be in the present moment. So we can have these goals, but if we don't kind of look at how our life and how our body allows us to do things, it's really hard.
Think about how many clients have said to you, oh boy, I used to be so thin and it was always so easy to take weight off. And I used to, instead of, well, hey, I might not be 20 anymore and my metabolism has slowed down. If you're a woman who's been through menopause, there have been a lot of changes that have happened within your body. It's more challenging. Metabolism slows down as we age. And of course, if we're not doing movement, then what happens is that our muscles start to atrophy a little bit and we're not building that lean muscle mass, which is so critical for us as we sail into our later years in life. And, everyone talks about exercise all the time. You and I both prefer to talk about movement instead of exercise as something that we intentionally need to do, but movement is such a benefit for overall health and wellness.
Right. And it allows you to build strength. It allows you to maintain a higher metabolism, the more lean muscle that you have. But in not calling exercise and calling it movement, people seem to sort of accept that better. And one of the, someday during the pandemic, I was at a coffee shop picking up coffee and taking it out. And there was a sign on the wall that said, exercise is a celebration of what you can do, not a punishment for what you ate. And I just thought that was a whole wonderful way to think about it, because we always think of, oh, I ate that piece of chocolate cake and now I have to go run for an hour on the treadmill, or I have to do 50 extra jumping jacks. And that's not what exercise is about. It's to celebrate what you can do. And not everybody can do the same things. And you might not be able to do all the same things that you could when you were 20, but you can do something.
And research has also shown that people who regularly exercise have a greater rate of confidence than those who don't. If you're struggling with perhaps movement, I love having an accountability partner who stays with me on the journey, whether it's taking a walk together, riding a bike together, or doing something of that nature. It's always, in a way, more fun when you're doing it with somebody.
Somebody, right. Even us as coaches, we can hold you accountable and be like, okay, you said you wanted to do 3 days of this amount of exercise. How did you do with that? And so it's always interesting to see how people relate to that. But I think you're right. I'm much better at taking classes than I am at doing exercise on my own. Even my favorite thing of riding my bike. But it's also learning to be content right now. So much of our time is spent, when I do this, when I do that, when I lose weight, when I, as opposed to learning the aspects of mindfulness about being present right now in the moment, being content. You know what? I'm not 150 pounds. I'm never going to be 150 pounds. I lost 110 and I'm still well over 150 pounds. I stay around 180, 185, but that's okay. So learning to be content where you're at doesn't mean you're going to stay there. Doesn't mean you have to live there forever. It's just being content in who you are. And eventually you'll get rid of the extra weight and you'll get rid of those things, but it's about staying present and being in the moment and content with your current size.
Well, you bring up an interesting point when you talk about the number on the scale. And that's a real big thing. It's letting go of the scale. Because the scale can be the fastest way to get discouraged during your journey. I know there are some people that feel that what happens is that it motivates them to look at their weight every day. And yet I had one client, I'll never forget this. She used to tell me that when she would get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, that she would weigh herself on the scale.
Wow.
So obsessive. So letting go of the scale so that, look, although it can be tempting to regularly check the numbers on the scale to see how much you've lost, often the numbers on the scale might not be so accurate. We all know that fluctuations happen on a daily basis. So it's best to gauge your weight on how better your clothes fit over time. I don't need my jeans to tell me a number on the scale as to whether or not I'm feeling better in my own skin and the clothes that are on my body.
Right. And I think it's also in dropping the number on the scale and learning to measure by other things, it's also finding something to love about your body and dropping the comparisons between you and somebody else. You are not that person. That person is not you. And you don't have to always compare yourself. And you can say, you know what? My belly is not the thinnest, the most flat, but you know what? Maybe you had a baby. So that belly that you're looking at can be appreciated because it's stretched to accommodate forming a new life. And so finding things to appreciate, like I'm a very stiff kind of person. I have very short, stiff, tight muscles. So I can't do easily a lot of things, but the things that I can do, oh yeah.
So in talking about this, it's so important that as we go through this journey, that we take care of ourselves. We talk to ourselves kindly. We do something nice for ourselves. And it's totally appropriate to reward yourself after you've accomplished a milestone. And the way to do this, it could be going out for a manicure, buying yourself something new, maybe going to a favorite restaurant or brunch with friends. Or it could just be that you're going to partake in self-care and just go out and have a walk in a park. It doesn't have to be where you're spending money. The weight loss journey is a long process. It just is. It's a lifelong process, which is why we don't really talk about diets. We talk about lifestyle change. And it's acceptable to approach it that way and giving yourself treats once in a while. One of my clients I love this about her. She has a closet that she keeps in her house. And in her house, she does. And what she does is when she goes out, she buys herself little things and she wraps them. And she puts them in her feel-good closet. It could be a bottle of nail polish. It could be a rose. Not a fresh rose, obviously.
Right.
It could be anything. And what she does is when she's feeling a little bit down or when she's accomplished something great, she surprises herself and goes into her closet and gives herself a gift.
Isn't that a great idea? Whatever you see, like I know standing in line at TJ Maxx or Marshall's, they have all of those things and you're always like, oh, that would be great. Oh, that would be great. And you think, what am I going to do with that? I don't need that right now. That's a great idea because you could pick it up, take it home, wrap it, put it in the closet. And then when you have something, you just pull out a package and you don't remember what it is, how long ago you bought it, and you get that little reward. I'm going to have to start doing that.
Isn't that a cool idea? And I know that she listens to our broadcast, so I know she's going to crack up because we talk about this all the time, her feel-good closet. I just love that idea. My clients are so cool. I get the coolest information from you guys out there. And, for me, I would also say that it's so important to listen to the voice in your head, to listen to your body. When you've been kind of slouching off. When you haven't been following that plan. When you're doing all of that, right? So it's just, no different than if you, for example, maybe exercise a lot and then you suddenly feel fatigued or you're feeling weak or, your body can sense that it has reached its limit. Your body lets you know. So listen and pay attention to the signs and the symptoms. If you're feeling very bloated, if you're feeling very tired, if you're feeling very sluggish, all of that can be so connected to the foods that you're eating.
Or the water that you're not drinking.
There you go. That too, of course. There are so many different things.
Right. And so as important as it is in listening to our body, it's also important to not neglect our mental health. And as you know, I'm a licensed social worker, so I do plenty of therapy with people as well as coaching them. And this is something that we talk about with some of my clients because sometimes they need to connect why they're doing things with what they're doing. And so if you don't have a therapist, it's important to get a therapist because you can utilize your therapist's skills to help you pay attention to what's happening and then figure out how to move forward with that. So in being more confident, paying attention to your mental health is also very important.
So being more confident really has to do a lot with getting rid of that self-criticism that we have, because that is an important part of weight loss. I mean, if you're continuing to criticize and berate yourself, you're only going to end up being miserable. And of course, what happens is you'll probably overeat all over again. It just is one of the things that happens. And it's this never-ending cycle. So it's really about being kind to yourself. And I really don't like using the word fat, but there is a term out there that a lot of people use, which is fat phobia. And what really is that? Because that ties so much into the mental headpiece. And it's the more hate and shame and negativity you feel about being fat, the stronger the pull is to really keep it there. And believe it or not, according to research, that 90% of weight loss has to do with what is going on internally inside of you. And if you never truly address what's going on in your mind, you will always be subconsciously attracted to food addiction and to overeating. And it's not encouraging you to remain overweight, but to heal your outer self. But in order to make that happen, you have to deal with that inner struggle first.
Right. And that's where I think people don't make that connection. And that's where a therapist can help, because it's not always just the external, right? It's not always just the behavior. You know, we've been doing a class on emotional eating, and one of the things that was being talked about is how we use food for celebrations and coping and all of that stuff. So utilizing that, you have to learn how to do those things without food. And as we become more confident, we begin to trust our abilities and our qualities and our judgments better. And so we don't need to turn to food because we're feeling like we're not on solid footing, or like, oh, I can't really do that. And so we eat to soothe or to push down that anxiety. So having self-confidence not only helps you in your weight loss journey, but it helps in your life.
Well, confidence also plays a major role in motivation in order to pursue your goals. We've been talking about goals a lot. There are some studies out there that even talk about linking higher levels of self-confidence in athletes with increased motivation to practice their sport of choice. Your level of confidence even affects how you present yourself to others. So there are so many things that go on in my mind about thinking about this, and some of you might be saying, well, how do I increase my self-confidence? What do I do? I mean, how do I do that? Because many people don't really have that tool set. So what do you think that we can help our listeners talk about as far as giving them some suggestions that can help them if they're lacking confidence in a specific area or struggle to feel confident about anything?
So when I used to be in church, my old pastor used to say, you've got a case of comparatinitis. And I always think about that. It's like getting rid of the comparatinitis, because it doesn't do any good to compare myself to someone else. And I know we talked about comparing a few minutes ago, but to just get into it a little more, when you're comparing, you're tearing down, because you're comparing how you feel on the inside to how they look on the outside. You don't know what they're feeling on the inside. They could be just as insecure and scared and feeling incompetent or whatever as you do. But because the outside looks good, that's what you're comparing to.
So that sounds to me a lot like envy and jealousy in many ways. And if you are envious of someone else's life, it's also helpful to remind yourself of your own strengths and successes, which is where those affirmations come in, and perhaps keeping a gratitude journal to help you to recall the areas in your life where you truly are blessed. And that can help you to focus on your life instead of focusing so much on the life of others. And for me, Tammy, one of my big things is getting rid of toxic people in my life and surrounding myself with positive people. You know, think for a minute about how people make you feel. Do they lift you up? Do they bring you down? Are they judging you? Do they accept you for who you are? I think about how many times does your cell phone ring? And when you look at your cell phone, you take a moment and say, I don't really want to talk to Debbie Downer today, because it's just going to knock me down. And yet I know that whenever I get a phone call and it says Tammy, I know that I'm laughing my butt off. So whose call am I more likely to take? Yours or Debbie Downer? I don't know.
Right, exactly. Because I'm Susie Sunshine.
Yes, there you go. Tammy Sunshine. You know, you want to surround yourself with people who love you and truly want the best for you. Seek out other people who are positive and can work with you to help build your confidence. I say to my husband sometimes that when I get very stressed, don't get upset with me. That's when I need you the most to help me to get through the challenge when I'm feeling anxious and stressed. You want someone to lift you up, not to get affected by your own level of stress. Does that make sense?
Right. It's sort of like you want them to come alongside you and help carry the burden for a little while because it's getting too heavy.
That's for sure.
And another thing to think about is taking care of your body. We just spoke about finding something that you like, but that's also taking care of your body because you cannot feel good about yourself if you're abusing your body. If you're abusing yourself, no matter with what, maybe it's eating too much, drinking too much, utilizing substances, anything that you're doing, even when you're cutting or doing some of those other things to abuse your body, none of those are going to make you feel good. Those are not going to build confidence in you.
Right, but some of the things that are linked to higher levels of self-confidence are healthy eating, which comes with many benefits. One of which, of course, is higher level of self-confidence and self-esteem. And when you fuel your body with nutrient-dense foods, you feel healthier, you feel stronger, more energized. And that can help you to result in feeling better about yourself.
And part of that, I've been thinking about, when do people feel their best and most confident? It really is when they're eating real food because it has all those micronutrients and the amino acids in, and that's what your body needs in order to feel good. So when you're eating only crappy food, your body's not getting what it needs in order to even have the building blocks. Amino acids are the building blocks of our body. It's the building blocks of the chemicals in our brains to make our serotonin, our feel good and dopamine and all of those things. So if you're not eating foods that give you those things, how are you going to expect to do that? Another way in feeling good, taking care of your body, is to exercise. We talked about that. Meditating, taking that time out to be in the moment and just being mindful and getting good quality sleep. Everyone says, oh, I didn't sleep. I don't sleep. I only get 2 hours of sleep. Well, that's not good for your mental health, nor is it good for your body.
Right. Our bodies repair when we sleep. Sleep is so important. Generally, caring for yourself is such an important part of feeling confident. Making sure that you're getting what you need to feel good about yourself and your abilities are all parts of the puzzle. One of the things that we're going to talk about in part 2 of our series today is other ways that you can help to get these confidence boosters by being kind to yourself. We're going to really dig into that. So make sure that you stay tuned for part 2 of our talk today. I love this topic because it's so empowering for people to just feel good in their own skin and have a game plan in place with an actionable plan with the support of a health coach to be accountable to and to help you on your journey. So we'd like to thank you so much for spending time with us this morning as we've been talking about confidence. Again, stay tuned for part 2 as we will continue the conversation.
Thanks. See you in a few minutes.
See you soon.